He was an attorney and abolitionist who fought in the Civil War and was wounded 5 times. After the war, he served as a U.S. congressman and as governor of Ohio. He was the Republican Party's nominee to succeed President Grant. In the ensuing disputed election, the Democratic nominee, Samuel Tilden of New York, won the popular vote, but the electoral votes of several southern states were disputed due to voting irregularities. A congressional commission awarded him all the disputed votes just days before the inauguration, allowing him to win the presidency by 1 electoral vote. As part of the compromise ensuring his election, he withdrew federal troops from the South and ended Reconstruction. He started his administration by declaring, "He serves his party best, who serves his country best." In his single term in office, he instituted civil service reform and insisted on maintaining the gold standard. He undertook a tour of the western states in his last year in office and retired to his estate in Ohio. He is our nation's 19th chief executive, Rutherford B. Hayes. Let's take a look at a map of the state of Ohio and some sites associated with Rutherford B. Hayes. Hayes was born in Delaware, Ohio, in the central portion of the state. There's not much there that you can see today. There is a marker marking the spot where he was born. He did for a time live in Cincinnati. He practiced law there and served as the city solicitor of Cincinnati. But his estate, Spiegel Grove, was in Fremont, Ohio, and if you go there today, there's quite a bit to see. You can tour the house. As I said, it's called Spiegel Grove. There's also the Rutherford B. Hayes Presidential Library and Museum, and Hayes is buried there on the estate in Fremont, Ohio. Now let's take a look at some photographs of some of these sites. Now let's take a look at some books in my collection pertaining to Rutherford B. Hayes. I'm not aware of any recent biographies of Hayes. I do have one biography of him that was published in 1954. It's by Harry Barnard, and it's called Rutherford B. Hayes and His America. I'm sure it's out of print, but I actually picked this up. It's quite a few years ago now at the Hayes Presidential Center in Fremont, Ohio. Well, the Hayes administration marked the end of Reconstruction, and I have another book that's a social and political history of the South in the period after Reconstruction, from 1877 through the beginning of the 20th century. It's by Edward L. Ayers. It was published in 1992, and it's called The Promise of the New South, Life After Reconstruction. One other thing that doesn't pertain to the presidency or to politics or anything like that, but it's from the time period and good history, is this book. It's by Carolyn Fraser. It was published in 2017, and it's Prairie Fires, The American Dreams of Laura Ingalls Wilder. And if you have any interest in Laura Ingalls Wilder and her writings, there are a lot of historic sites that you can visit that were part of her life in Minnesota, in South Dakota, in Missouri, and Almanzo Wilder's childhood home in northern New York State. Our next episode will feature our nation's 20th president, James A. Garfield.